I want you to picture this. You sit down at your desk, you've got a fresh cup of coffee, a clear to-do list, and what feels like absolutely all the time in the world. But then, 2 hours later, you suddenly realize you've achieved absolutely nothing except, well, scrolling through a bunch of notifications. It is the ultimate modern struggle, isn't it? We live in an era where we're just chronically overwhelmed by the noise of our devices. But today, we're going to change that. We're exploring some genuinely science-backed systems to help you reclaim your time, deepen your focus, and actually start making technology work for you instead of against you.
So let me ask you something right off the bat. Are you digitally hijacked? Do you check your phone within the first 5 minutes of waking up? Or maybe you find it practically impossible to just read a book for 30 minutes without instinctively reaching for your device. Do you get kind of anxious when your phone isn't within arm's reach? Look, if you're nodding along right now, you are definitely not alone. Over 60% of smartphone users exhibit these exact same behaviors. Today's explainer draws heavily from Intisar M. Ali's really comprehensive guide, Master Your Time. And honestly, the most liberating takeaway from this whole body of work is simply this. Your distraction is not a personal failing. You aren't lazy. What you're experiencing is really just a lack of strategy for navigating a digital world that has been meticulously, deliberately designed to steal your attention.
Think about this massive number for a second. $600 billion. That was the global digital advertising revenue in 2023 alone. And where does that giant pile of money actually come from? Well, it comes from extracting your time and your attention. Tech companies employ literal armies of behavioral psychologists to keep you engaged, and they use these things called intermittent variable rewards. Fun fact, that is the exact same psychological trigger that makes slot machines so wildly addictive. So it's not an accident. It's a business model. Plain and simple.
And here is the really hard-hitting reality of what that business model is actually costing you. 23 minutes and 15 seconds. According to data from the University of California, Irvine, that is exactly how long it takes your brain to return to a state of deep focus after just one single interruption. Now, when you consider that the average office worker is interrupted roughly every 3 minutes, wow, the math is pretty terrifying. It basically means most workers are never achieving deep focus at all.
All right, Section 1, the science of focus. To really reclaim our productivity, we've got to understand a little bit about our own neurology. Your brain primarily operates in two totally distinct modes. On one side, you have the task-positive network. This is your highly analytical, goal-directed mode. It's what you use for intense, focused work. Then, on the other side, is the default mode network. This is your resting, wandering, incredibly creative state. And here's the thing, both are absolutely essential. But constant digital stimulation fills every potential moment of rest with scrolling, and that literally robs your default mode network of the vital downtime it needs to synthesize information and actually generate new ideas.
Which brings us to this incredibly powerful idea. Boredom is not a problem to be solved. It is a doorway to creativity that we keep slamming shut. Over time, our brains physically rewire themselves to demand constant stimulation. Researchers actually call this phenomenon acquired attention poverty. So we really have to actively embrace the discomfort of being bored if we want to get back to our peak cognitive performance.
Moving right along to Section 2, building your environment.
Okay, so how do we actually fix this? Well, we start with the absolute easiest wins, fixing your physical and digital environment so you don't even have to rely on willpower. A massive part of this starts the absolute second you wake up, using a 5-step morning protocol. Step 1. Before the world gets its hooks in you, spend your first 5 minutes completely screen-free. Then, hydrate and get your body moving. Next, dedicate just 15 minutes to some quiet reflection and planning for the day. From there, you immediately dive into your most important task for a solid 60 to 90 minutes of